Hey guys! So today I'm going to be doing one of my favorite self-care activities, which is coloring. I've got this super cute, sort of yassified little owl. She's sort of sassy, got long eyelashes, and a little heart on her forehead. I've got all these artist tools at my disposal, but I'm going to start out with these markers, just in a markery mood. Something about that flowy ink. I'm feeling cool colors for this owl. I want to start with purple. Maybe it's because purple feels like a sassy color to me. I don't know. I'm gonna do this shade, which is violet. I'm just gonna start out filling in some of the feathers right around her head. I really like owls. I think they might actually be one of my favorite birds. I feel like they look like if cats could fly, and I really like kitties, so maybe that's part of it. But they also just have a lot of traits that kind of set them apart from other birds. I mean, some people don't like this, but I think it's really cool how they can swivel their heads around 180 degrees and look at you. I love their soft little feathers. They're extremely effective predators. So their feathers are super, super soft, so they don't make any sound as they swoop in on their prey, which I think is a pretty cool feature. I'm filling in some of the feathers on top of the head as well. I think I'm gonna go in a pattern every 3 rows. 1, 2, 3. With this shade. I think if I were a bird, I could see myself being an owl maybe. Some of them also are really huge and they can be really tiny too. I've actually held one of the smaller species of owl before. I think it was a barred owl. It was a research science thing. I didn't just run into the wild and grab one or anything. That would be not recommended. I know that a lot of people find them spooky. Honestly, I get it. Their sounds are a little bit haunting. Those big eyes in the night can be a little bit scary. They take care of pests you don't want around, like mice. And overall, I think they're very cute. So good for owls. So there is the top of the head, filled in with a little bit of violet. I kind of have an idea of what I want for that section, so I'm just going to keep going with another color. I'm gonna do this shade of purple. It says plum. And it's a really pretty, I don't think it's the color of a plum, to be honest. I would say it's more of an indigo, and I think of plums as more reddish purple. Let's see. But it is the color that I had in mind. So I'm going to use that for the row beneath violet in this little pattern I'm creating on the owl's head. So something else that I always found interesting about owls, people think of the little tufts that are on their head as ears. They're not ears, they're just feathers. They make them extra cute and make them look like cats. But they do have little ear holes and they have really good hearing. They're always listening for mice. And one of their ears is higher than the other. And that helps them to pinpoint the locations of prey more accurately, which I just think is so cool. They're like location-specific ears. They've got radar built in. All right, I'm gonna do the feathers markers around the edge of the head. I'm trying to decide whether I want the outer ones or these ones. I think I'll do these ones. I really like coloring with these markers. They're very fresh. They're not dried up in any kind of way. So the ink kind of flows onto the paper and it stays wet for a second before drying. A nice even color. I do want to be careful though. I have a habit of dragging my hand across paper, and that can sometimes cause it to smear all over my hand. As a kid, I used markers a lot, and the side of my hand was always not a human skin tone. It's usually like smeared with like green, purple, blue. I swear I washed my hands, but it would just get markered up again really quickly. So I'm doing just kind of an A-B pattern here between, I mean, this plum color is really like a deep midnight blue. I can't emphasize enough. It is not the color of a plum. That is just fine. I think if I had a favorite owl species, probably it'd be the snowy owl. They're so cute. Something about the Arctic makes animals fuzzier and rounder. So it just seems like everything from that region. Arctic fox, like snowshoe hare, they're just extra plump and, oh, and seals, of course, and cute. Plump and fuzzy and cute. That's what we've got so far. All right, I'm gonna keep on with this set of markers for right now. So I'm gonna keep using these colors a little bit lower down on the owl. I think I'll keep using an alternating pattern. There's these little Zentangle loopy shapes. I'm going to alternate this quote unquote plum color between the outer stripe and the center stripe for this little shape here. Whenever I color something that's more on the intricate side like this, I always tell myself, oh, it's okay to leave some spaces white. And then I often end up coloring them anyway, because I just get like a little idea. I do like to try to make them turn out pretty, but I think a lot of it really is about the action of just using your hands for something. We spend so much time on our phones, just tapping on that screen, so it feels really natural and freeing just to use my physical hands and like change something in the actual space around me, rather than just like tapping at that same little glowing rectangle. All right. So I'm going to let that dry for a little bit actually before working over the same section, and I'm going to move over to here. I'm just going to hit a few more spots with this not plum color. I think if I were to name this after a fruit, I would call it blueberry, because it is pretty similar to the shade of like a perfectly ripe blueberry, which I have not had in a while now that I think about it. I used to eat blueberries all the time. I'm a huge fruit person in general. Fun facts. Alright, I think I'm going to try to echo the pattern I have here in this spot. So the third stripe down, 1, 2, 3, the third row of feathers down. They really look more like scales. I'll do this. Actually, fun fact. So, birds and reptiles are very closely related, and evolutionarily, feathers are actually thought to be a very specially adapted type of scale. I don't think I should say thought to be, like they just are. Feathers are very specifically adapted type of scale, which is super interesting. Back in the day, even when dinosaurs roamed the earth, a lot of them ended up getting feathers at a certain point. They probably looked a lot more bird-like than they do in Jurassic Park, which is interesting. I feel like that is maybe like disappointing to some people because they might have looked a little bit more ridiculous than one originally imagined, as opposed to being really cool and dragon-like. But I think it's pretty cool. I think that what really does set apart an owl from other birds is their huge eyes. I think that mainly comes from being nocturnal, because I think there must be other nocturnal birds, but I don't know much about them. A lot of nocturnal animals are kind of spooky and have negative legends associated with them, just because if you're a human being, we are not very nocturnal creatures naturally. But if you're a human being and you're walking around at night, a lot of the stuff you see, a lot of the animals you see, their huge reflective eyes are going to look pretty spooky. So it would make sense that we as humans have rather negative associations with them. I swear though, owls do not mean to harm you in any way. They're very shy. I think super cute. Alright. Here's just a little progress, a little bit more of that blue filled in. See, I'm already smearing it on the other page and I don't even know where from. It's not going to be perfect. I'm definitely going to smear it in some other places, but that's okay. Alright. Time to fill in a little bit more violet. It's already getting all over the side of my hand. I know left-handed people say that they have that struggle when writing, since, writing English is left to right, so their hand just kind of drags over whatever words they're writing. I'm not left-handed by any means, even though I did try to train myself to be at one point. But I do understand their struggle. I really do feel as if I can relate to it sometimes. I'm gonna do these two big curving stripes coming downwards. I really like the harmony in this pattern, because there's these kind of curving bands that spiral out from, I think it would be where the owl's wing attaches. If you ever do want to freak yourself out, go look at a picture on the internet of a bald owl, or like a featherless owl. Because their eyes are so big, it just looks so deeply messed up. But I guess it's the same as like a wet cat. And just keep the fuzz on them. Alright. I think that I'll want to fill these in, maybe even on a kind of gradient pattern. I might branch out a little bit more over here. I'm gonna fill in these eyelashes, the darker purple. This was what drew me to this image, was these sassy little eyelashes. This owl knows how to get snatched. Let's see. I'm going to do another little row of purple here. Some of these feathers are rather hyper-evolved, modified scales. Alright, and then one more little row here. I think that, I'm trying to think if I want to completely reserve the purple for the owl or add some in the flowers up here. I think I'll fill some in up here. I do really like purple flowers. Pansies, clematis, crocuses, irises. I think there's even some purple lilies. They just all look really nice in flowers. I just realized I've got a few of the same species. So I'm gonna go ahead and fill them in the same way. I think that just like when I'm drawing or coloring, it feels like my thoughts flow so much more freely. Definitely feels better than if I'm in scrolling mode. I think it can be really good sometimes just to unwind and do one really simple thing. Something simple, but you still need to put some focus on it. It's very meditative. Alright, there's another flower, that same species. So for these ones, I'm making a kind of outer ring purple. It's really nice, violet purple. Alright, and then there's one more over here. So far, I'm pretty happy with how the overall harmony is playing out in this picture. I like to have the colors kind of dispersed evenly throughout. Here's what we have so far. Alright. So now I'm gonna go ahead and introduce another color. This one calls itself Primrose. I think I've used it in the past, and if anything, I would say it's more of a, like almost a magenta, kind of a reddish purple color. I think that it should be just what is needed for some more of these feathers. Yes. I just find it very satisfying that kind of purpley toned blue, true purple, and then more of a pinky purpley color. Just a super nice, satisfying kind of gradient. And I think I might end up doing actually a layer of blue, like true blue, in the middle of these feathers. I'm not quite sure, so I'm just gonna start from the outside feathers and then see what feels right. Gonna start with an alternating pattern. If it feels like it'll be too much, then I'll fill it in a different, sorry, I'll fill it in with the same color. If not, I might choose another color. Let's see. You go here, you go here. I'm trying to decide what color I think would fit in nicely here. Part of me wants to throw in a real wild card and do orange, because that would just contrast in such a fun, kind of color poppy type way. Would really jump out. I'm gonna fill it in here as well, just wherever I think it's needed. I think that pink and blue is a tried and true color combo. Whether they're both pale, like in cotton candy, or whether they're both dark, like here. So I'm just filling in this little bit of kind of magenta where it seems like it needs it. See, maybe I need to look at some pictures of primroses. I just don't picture this color when I think of primroses. Though, to be fair, when I hear the word primrose, I still kind of think of the little sister in the Hunger Games. So, I don't know. Another thing that I just really love about these markers, besides the smoothness and also the brightness of the colors, and how even it comes out, wow, a lot of things. This is a very sharp tip. It's sharp, but at the same time not overly hard. So the ink really flows out, but it's very precise. It's almost like a felt tipped pen. Like I feel like I could, write with it, and then it wouldn't feel too blunt. So I feel like I have a lot of control, and I'm able to be quite precise with it. With ink, that's, oftentimes what you want when you're not trying to cover a huge area at once. When you have a more intricate design like this, it's really nice. So this kind of fills around these alternating diamond patterns and loop-de-loops. I'm still trying to decide if I want to add in a little bit of orange or if I think that'll be too much. Maybe I should just do some more shades of purple. I think though it'll look nice, like a little sunset. Alright, so now I'm gonna fill in these kinds of borders. I think I'm going to alternate. So every other one of these little kind of sharp pointy shapes here will be filled with this color. I'm envisioning where the orange will go, and I'm thinking, yes, let's do it. Let's go for it. Oops, I totally just filled in 3 when I meant to alternate. That's okay. It'll be just slightly more of a complicated pattern. If I really need to, even I can go over it with a different color, something a little darker. So I'm going to alternate here as well with these little feathers. And those are going to alternate with orange for sure. There will definitely be some magenta in these feathers, but I'm not quite sure where yet. So for the moment, I'll leave them be. I'm going to fill in all these little circles here. All magenta. I've just decided to call this color magenta, apparently. That's what it feels like. Let's see. It's such a powerful color that I don't want to overdo it with this one. It kind of draws so much attention already. I think I will hit these little rings of these flowers with it. And then I'm going to go in with some orange. Sometimes you just gotta be brave and go for it. Alright. Okay, that's what I thought. There are 3 of these. I'm actually going to do them, let's see. Do I want them to be the same or slightly different? I think I'll do all 3 of these the same, just for the sake of harmony. Since there are quite a number of plant variations, if there were more of them, say like 5, I might do some of them with this color in the second ring and some with this color in the center. So if I can't tell if this owl is just being sassy or if it's the daytime and she's sleeping, because that'll determine if I maybe end up coloring the sky, what's going on. Here's where we are currently. So I'm gonna add in, we've actually got 2 shades of orange. I'm gonna do the darker one. The lighter one could be an option later on, we'll see. So I'm going to be brave and fill in, ooh, actually I got an idea. So I might try making this kind of multi-dimensional looking. So I'm striping the orange and I can fill it in with little stripes of red and little stripes of more yellow orange. And that'll give them a little bit of a 3D shape. I think actually I'll start with the lighter orange, because if it gets red on it, it might ruin the marker a little bit. So for the feathers around its face, just gives that a little bit more dimension. And finally, I'm just gonna do a little tiny bit of hatching in red. So suddenly, these feathers are all ablaze. It just really makes them pop out more. I'm gonna do these little dots around the face in orange as well. And I think, again, just for fun, I'll alternate them with more yellow orange and with the darker orange. And that gives it kind of an autumn-y look. Very fun. I don't think I've ever been so happy that I chose to add a color. It's just, I don't know, it's super delightful. Something about the way that it contrasts with the purple, it's hitting for me. Purple and orange are almost opposites on the color wheel. purple and blue and orange are directly across from each other on the color wheel. And purple is right next to blue on the color wheel, so they're like next door neighbors. If you shifted it over one, you could also do like green and orange. Those are also colors that really pop against each other. So I'm doing the same thing, the feathers on top of the head. I'm doing stripes of the medium orange and then adding in some. So I think that these colors will all blend into each other really nicely. Just nice and lit up, flame-like. So I'm going to start trying that around the edges of the owl's head. I'm going to start with golden yellow in each little corner. And just kind of blend it outward. And go from that to orange. And next will be red. I'm gonna kind of go around this curve with red. It's blending really nicely. And finally, we'll do this right in the corner sections. Yes. I like helping this owl slay. All right, I got some inspiration for these feathers as well. So all of them are going to be darker colored in the little center section. So there's these little diamonds going downwards. And I think I want all of those to be red. But then we'll have sort of a gradient in the outer part of the feathers. So each one of these feathers has 3 parts. There's the little diamond part that I'm filling in right now with red. Then there's the kind of center part, that center curve. And then there's an outer loop, I want to call it. So once I've filled in the red, I'll figure out what I want to do for that loop. I think those will be a solid color, but each row will be a different color that fades nicely into each other. I think for this, I'm going to be brave and add another color. So this one will include true yellow at the very center. Right now, that looks a little garish in contrast to everything else, but I think that in the context of everything, it'll blend out. So next we'll add golden yellow in the row above and below that. If I really need to, I can add a little bit of it in the true yellow to help it blend. But I'll see how it looks first. So above and below, do that color. All right. Next we'll do true orange. Just the row above, fill that in with orange. And the row below, fill that in with orange. And then I think I'll keep those as 3 main colors we've got going on here. And already I'm seeing the yellow I think is working. So now I'm gonna bring it back and do golden yellow again. Top row will have golden yellow. And then the bottommost row so far will have golden yellow. And then that is going to become true yellow again. Would call this canary yellow. And it only works, yellow is the true opposite of purple, by the way. It only works because it's in the context of these other colors that help it to flow into the picture. Finally, we end with golden yellow. Sassy little sunset owl. All right. So, for these bottom little feathers that need to be filled in, I'm just gonna do the same thing that I did along the top. So, main color will be true orange. And then I'm gonna add in a little bit of goldenrod. And then finally some red to add a little dimension, give it that flame-like quality that just blends so well with everything else. Let's see. I think I can get away with adding some red over here. If I really need to, I think I can blend it with the quote-unquote primrose color. I'm gonna add some orange in some other places. So right here, I'm gonna alternate, I think, between orange and goldenrod. That actually feels like it might be too much. I might do just orange. Oops. Let's see. And here, I'll do orange with goldenrod in the middle, giving it almost like a shiny effect. Here the goldenrod serves almost as a highlight to the feathers. Let's see. I'll also do this little beak here. Create kind of an orange gradient. Alrighty. I think these little dots here I can even get away with doing in yellow. So I'm gonna start with true yellow and then do goldenrod around the edges to help it blend better so it doesn't contrast too extremely with the purple. All right. So I I need to figure out what I want to fill these in with. I did all warm colors for the center of these feathers. So now I want to do cool colors. Which colors do we want to use? I'm going to use primrose, purple, maybe even a little bit of actual blue. I wonder, red might end up being too much. So I think these outer feathers are going to have sort of a two-toned effect. So I'm doing primrose, and around the edges, I might do some violet. Just make it look a little more 3D. All right, and then since we did primrose there, next row down will be violet. With the edges in plum. The next row down from there will be plum, and the edges will be in blue. We're daring to be bold. So now I just need to figure out which one I want to think of as the central color. I think I'll have this be kind of the radiation point. I'll think of that as the center. So then I'll reverse the pattern. So let's see. This one will be violet with the edges in plum. Something about this feels, it's a bit mathematical, honestly, and it feels good for my brain. All right. So then this one will be primrose, and then the edges will be in violet. That's plum. That's okay. Very tiny mistake. I do not think it will show up. In fact, it might even add a little more dimension. All right. So from here, I'm gonna go back to violet again, below it, as well as above it. And then the edges of violet are in plum. And then this row below it will also be plum. Plum's edges are in blue. I'm going to fill in the edges below it because the next row down will once again be violet. Alright, so here's blue to do the edges for plum. They barely look different. But it's also just about the principle of it. Alright. And that's violet. Let's see what's up next. Here, I'm gonna start filling in these loops. Again, we've got kind of an alternating pattern here. Gonna do the bottom of the loop in violet, and the edge of the loop, at least this pattern of them, will be plum. We'll call that design A. So now the next one will have plum on this edge. U needs to be filled in. There we go. Alright. I just need to figure out what I want that low light color to be. I think I might be bold and try making it orange. I'm pretty happy with that. And let's see, do I want to do alternating centers there? I think I want the centers of these ones to be red. The other set of centers, I think I want to do orange. I'll do the goldenrod orange. It's like the color of a school bus, basically, so I guess it depends whether you consider that yellow or orange. And we'll add true orange for the low light. Let's see. This owl has a little heart on top of its head. I can do that in red as well. And that kind of jumps out at you. Where else? Let's see. Gonna try something here. So this has a little, there's a little flower pattern on the wing. The negative space around the flower, just that space alone, I'm filling in red. And next will be a little layer of plum. I'm kind of obsessed with how these colors flow into each other. I might even do this one entirely in ink. And finally, let that transition to violet. Just very warm, inviting colors. Make me happy. Alright, the alternating color here with these triangles, I'm seeing, I think that, this one needs to be plum. I think that I could do a pattern here actually. I think we could do plum and then red above and below. orange above and below. Then goldenrod above and below. Back to orange. And then back to red. Then on the reverse side here, I'm going to do plum, red, let's see, going to, I think, skip straight to goldenrod. Then yellow. This really feels like a little bit of a mathematical equation to make sure I get the pattern right. Then, let's see. I'll do true orange here. True orange. Let's see, I want to skip over red because I don't want to have it too overwhelming there. We'll do yellow again. And then red. Just wanted to have that kind of harmonious flow to it. Let's see. I'm gonna go in on the flowers now and add a little bit of this goldenrod because I think that it'll look really nice for the, oh, I'm blanking out on what the word is for it. The little clumps of pollen, I think anthers. If you are a gardening expert and the word is not in fact anthers, please let me know. Maybe it's stamen. I'll be honest, I have not thought too much about flower anatomy since I was in maybe 4th grade. Fill in a little bit of those as well. Can do a little bit of red, a little bit of red, yellow in the center, and then goldenrod. Why not? It just feels right. I think that I want to add a little bit of green selecting the leaves around the owl just to kind of distinguish that section a little bit. She's like the owner of purple. Let's see, I want to do her little feet in a mix of red, orange, and yellow. Funny, I've been so focused I didn't realize I'm almost done coloring the owl. Like most of what's left of this picture is actually just the plants around it. I think I want to follow some sort of pattern for these stripes, but a little bit of a simpler one. Maybe just like an ABC type pattern. I'm going to do a little bit of primrose as my B color. And then I think the C color, I'll do orange. So I'm going to fill in that center as orange. And these outer portions. And then add in a little goldenrod to represent shine. A little bit of shine. The one color I wish I had here is like lavender, because I think that could be so cute on the owl's face. I won't worry about that for right now though. Let's see. I'm gonna do these little petals here. These are violet, so I think that this flower would look really nice as well with some plum. I want to do every other petal with a little plum around it. I think plum maybe that turns to violet. That could be cute. And it'll go nicely with what we've already got in the flower. They just feel like they want to be friends of the owl. Can't quite tell what's going on there, but that's okay. All right. Let's see. This, it just feels clear as day now, needs to be plum. This whole stripe right here. I'll do it really solid. Maybe I do want to intentionally leave parts of this one white, just because the marker is so strong and pigmented. The white really has a nice contrast to it. It stands out as its own color. It's not just like an absence. Like that just looks really nice white, and the little face does too. So I'm going to try to leave those. Some more things could end up being colored still for sure. I'm just filling in this section right now. I love, I know I've been saying a lot of color combinations that I love, but that's why I'm using them. I just love this like almost midnight blue against good glowy orangey yellow. Reminds me of something kind of enchanted. I think a lot of Disney movies use that kind of color scheme. If you look at Aladdin, you have a lot of deep violet purple versus glowing orangey yellow colors. It's just wonderful. To fill in these sections, I kind of do a little circle, almost tracing around the circles that I want to fill in, and then I fill in the rest. I don't have to be quite as careful there. Wonderful. All right. So I want to fill in these spaces. I think that this will also be a pattern, but I'll keep it a little simpler. Do yellow. I might even just alternate between yellow and goldenrod. I think that hopefully that should jump out enough. Very fun. Very royal. Originally, I planned to do this color purple. I'm not quite sure though if I'd rather do that or orange. Right here though, I think could be purple. I think even like red orange there could be nice. So I'm going to fill it in mostly orange and just add in some red. Once again, just give it a little dimension. Shape reminds me of a rising sun, so I'm going to lean into that with these colors, yellow and then goldenrod around it. And a little orange. I can keep it on the simpler side, why not? And these stripes, I think, should alternate between plum and violet. Yeah, yes. I just had totally a little debate with myself. I'll actually throw a little red in there too. Just a little touch of it. Here's how our owl friend is looking so far. So I'm going to add plum along this stripe here. But that's going to fade into violet. And then a little bit of a primrose highlight right in the middle there. I want to figure out what color pattern to use for these diamonds. I think that the diamonds themselves should be orange. I'll do an easy A-B alternation of true orange and goldenrod. Then these little loop shapes, I think, should all be red. It just feels right. It's like a very autumn feeling, very serenity type owl. It's kind of making me crave a pet owl. Owls would probably not be a good pet. Like, to be quite honest, they'd probably be a terrible pet. But a girl can dream. Let's see. I think I want to echo a little bit more of this color scheme in these flowers. So I'm going to add plum, in this case, in this little petal here. I just realized this one is the same as these, where I filled in the little pollen colors. So I'm going to fill in that pollen color. As soon as I remember to. Sometimes I wish I had the option to draw or color little creatures and bring them to life. I know that would be a dangerous power to have. Like, I can't say I truly wish it, knowing the potential consequences. But it's fun to imagine. Like Harold in the Purple Crayon. Alright, almost done with this petal here. So this one still needs a little bit of pollen. So I did red and goldenrod. Red, red, red. And then golden, golden, golden. Let's see. I think that I want to fill in these little colors. Since there's 4 sets of petals, 2 of the petals will alternate between goldenrod and orange. And then 2 of them will alternate between, figure it out. They might just end up matching each other. I'll see what needs to happen. Feels like, though, maybe they want to be red and orange. I think that could be fun. And these ones don't need to match each other perfectly, because no 2 flowers are quite alike. That's kind of the fun of them, right? So let's find that orange. And fill those in. This just something about a color gradient that makes me so happy. When two colors are very similar to each other, but not quite, and they just play into each other and create that shimmering effect. It just brings me so much joy. Alright, and then, yeah, I think that's what wants to happen on the other set. So this will be orange, and then the blank ones will be red. So I'm gonna fill this in with red. Yes, that just really feels like it hits the spot. Little flame flowers. Now I'm just debating internally whether I want to finish coloring those in or leave them white. I know these stripes feel like they need to be red. I just love how fresh and lovely these markers are. Could make this pattern more complicated, but I want to save more of the intricate little tricks for the owl. She deserves it. After all, she worked so hard to get those eyelashes on fleek. I don't think anybody says fleek anymore, or has said it in years probably, but it just sprung to mind. Alright. What needs to happen next? These little plants there need a little color. Let's see now. We'll do those in yellow/goldenrod. These little dots on the owl. Then I can do goldenrod here. Then yellow, yellow, yellow. Oh, I'll just fill that out completely. Image so far. I kind of want to fill these in with yellow, and then if it's too bright, I'll pare it down a little bit with goldenrod. These little plant bits here. These curling vines. They feel similar to real plants that I've seen. I'm sure they're based on them, just highly stylized versions. I can't quite tell though. I can't quite guess what species they are. I'll just do a little bit of goldenrod along the edges. Just to give it a little more chill. Give it that warm sun-kissed look. Trying to decide what I want some of these other colors to be. You know what? I'll add a little goldenrod onto the plant itself. There we go. Alright. Could even do some here. I love stripy vines. Just so fun as like a concept. So this actually reads as another layer of petals on this flower specifically. So I'm gonna go one deeper and do a combination of primrose and red. And then these ones I think can also be primrose in the center. Maybe even red on that outer part, but with like a fade to primrose. I do not like red and purple directly touching. I don't know exactly why, they just look awful, awful to me. So I will not let that happen. I don't know why, but purple and red is actually one of my least favorite color combinations. I've told you many of my favorite color combinations. Purple and red has the opposite effect on me. Just horrible. Terrible. I don't know why. Alright. That being said, if it's like a violet purple with like a little bit of a gradient to it, it just can't be too harsh of a jump. That's what I find so off-putting. Alright. And then I think I'll go ahead and this central little petal on these flowers will be a little combination of goldenrod and orange. So the edges, both inner and outer, be true orange. Again, give it that dimension. And then the sort of central layer would be goldenrod. So I'm filling in any particularly triangular bits with orange. And I'll see if there's anything else that really needs these main colors right now. And I'll jump to green for just a total change. Oh yes. So that really gives these flowers a satiny sheen. Huge fan of that. Part of me does want to fill in that stripe on the owl. I think it could be, honestly, I think this stripe with a bit of yellow would look fantastic. So all the triangular bits, kind of triangular shaped negative space, I'm filling in with yellow. And the more cornery bits, get a little bit of goldenrod. least on this side. My left, your right. And that also helps the face just to stand out a little more. And I think I'll leave it white on that side, and it gives it a little bit of glow. Let's see. These petals on these flowers need something. I think that they want to be red. I'm not filling them in completely though, because they might want some sort of other color. I'm not sure yet. Maybe a little plum to give them pop. Or maybe even leave white highlights for that satiny look that I mentioned, which I am pretty fond of. So I'm just filling in both corner parts of these petals. They're very pointy petals. Oh no, I got so focused that my left foot, despite my best efforts, fell asleep. I'm not going to move it too fast because then I will get pins and needles. And to me, that is one of the most painful human experiences that we just commonly experience. So I'm gonna let it alone for the moment. All right. And it just jumped out to me that these need to be orange. They'll have a bit of a gradient to them. So they'll go goldenrod at the center, then orange, and then maybe a touch of red. But I don't think it'll look nasty against the purple since there's so many other colors to kind of help out. I'm gonna fill in the goldenrod part first. And then red. Let's see. Actually, I might do a combination of red and yellow. Some of them will be red and some will be yellow. Nature can be a little bit spontaneous like that, a little bit more unpredictable. I don't want it to be too rigid of a pattern. I'm thinking whether I want to add some yellow to the flowers. These ones specifically, I think, should have yellow in their petals. At the very least, every other petal. Maybe the other two will be goldenrod. I'll see how they end up looking. And I definitely want to add some greens into all the plants, and that'll help to differentiate. Yeah, definitely goldenrod for the other two. Oh yes, That just really hits the spot. It feels right to have that in the foreground. And those two will be orange. The two that go further back. Alright, so I'm going to go in with orange. Even some stripes here with orange. I'm going to try to keep them fairly random though. Because I do want to save some room for green. Just going to add some balance throughout with that orange. Little golden rod. Again, just that feeling of randomness. There's no true randomness in this universe, but one can create the illusion. I think I'll fill in some of these solid, some of them as if they're another little highlight. There you go. Maybe one like here. Maybe a little bit there. And right there. And right there. And maybe a tiny touch there. And just a touch there. Just warming it up a little bit. All right. That I want to be red as well before I forget. That can also be red. 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 And that little bottom part would be yellow. 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 It's crazy, but I think I'm almost finished with this. Let's see. Could use a little bit more yellow here. Where else? Just a few little touches here and there. I'm really debating whether I want to color parts of the sky or not. I might go in actually with like a colored pencil. I think it's daytime and this little nocturnal owl is taking a nap. All right, so time to add some really standout colors for the plants. I think they might also end up getting hit with a colored pencil. Something very soft and green. Potential. I'm just gonna pull out everything that I think could work for this. And who knows? There's so many variations of green. I might end up using a few of them. think that I'm gonna fall towards the warmer side of green since I've been using more sunset colors in general. But you never know. Turquoise. For the sky. Let's see. I think I'll end up going and using turquoise for the sky. So I'm using little circular motions. And I'm not too concerned with filling it all in or making it particularly dark. I'm mainly focusing, again, on negative space areas that are more triangular in shape. That's where I'm pushing the color more. Just giving a little more oomph. So it's really, more than anything, creating contrast against the colors that are already there. And look how it just really makes these colors pop. I think I mentioned orange and blue are complementary colors. They're each other's opposite. So when you put orange against blue, the orange just looks astonishing, I think. When done right, it is just such an enchanting combination. That paired with the contrast in texture, so overall, most of this is done in marker. You've got that really smooth, inky, super pigmented look, and then suddenly there's the kind of pale, multi-hued, different textured color of this colored pencil. They just really make each other contrast more. I want to make sure to get the space around the owl too. So we're making her pop. This is a very special moment for her. True beauty sleep. A little glamour nap. This just feels like a very autumny image. Something about the colors. It's the light. It feels like afternoon in October. And I'm just now realizing our owl friend is sitting on a little branch. So I need to figure out how I want to color that branch. I think it'll be just like a reddish wood color. There's this marker. It's copper, is the name of the marker. And that'll be just perfect for those little owl toes to grip onto. Give the branch its own distinct dimension. And it feels like just the right shade to fall in with this family. All these little pretty autumn shades. Just fiery and warm. I just realized I even made one of those plants look a lot like a piece of candy corn. I thought about using this color in some of the plants, but I really do want the branch to kind of stand alone. I might end up adding dark brown later once this dries to give it the effect of some little knots and whorls. After all, tree branches are highly textured things. But for right now, I'll keep it more one-dimensional. This copper marker is especially nice to use. So I'm just gonna fill in right around these spaces. Wow. Yeah, it really just feels like it brings everything forward, if that makes sense. Like things that occur in the foreground feel more like they're in the foreground and vice versa. I'm trying to tell if this is more foliage or if that is sky. I think actually this is sky. These are leaves hanging onto the tree branch. So I'm gonna make sure to color in this space. There we go. I think there might also be some negative space here that isn't just plant. It's hard to tell. Where are you plant and where are you not? I think I'll just let everything else be straight up plant. All right. Maybe I'll do a teeny little notch of sky here. And I'll let that also be a little bit of branch showing underneath. So this is a little bit of red, I think. All right, what colors need to happen now? This feels very fall leaf, so I'll add a little bit of red. Just some touches here and there. Actually, do think this should be red too. Let's see. Even some red here. Little red here. I want the owl to feel like she's surrounded by her kind, and yet I want her to be able to shine on her own. Which is why I don't want to completely jack her style. So let's see. Just the red is so nice. It fits so well with everything. It's funny, now I'm worrying that this green might jump out too much with everything else. So I think I'm going to use a more muted green with one of the colored pencils. This one's kind of a sage color, so I don't think that it'll be too extreme over the top contrasty. I'm just going to use touches of it here and there. Let it do its thing. That just makes the leaves stand apart from the owl more. I'm definitely happy with how that's coming out. It also makes them look more like they're transitioning from one color to another instead of late autumn. Now it's more September, October than November, December. I really like this shade of green here. I mean, that is why I chose it. But just in general, it's a very soft, gentle color. I would call it sage. Might end up using just like one more shade of green and it'll blend in nicely with this one. Maybe it even could be something a little bit on the slightly brighter green side. A little bit more of a new leaf color. So red and green are opposites on the color wheel. So when it's against anything red, it's noticeable. But since this is a more muted green, it has a lot of brown in it, it doesn't jump out in quite the same way that like a really bright, more of like a lime green or just like a really bright grass green would. It has a bit more of a softness to it. So it does help the red to stand out, but it doesn't feel jarring. There we go. Yeah, that really felt like it made the difference between distinguishing the plants from our main character here. It's like, whoa, chill out, flowers. You are here to be background characters, to enhance our leading lady here. Trying to tell if any of that is supposed to be negative space. Do I have that sky color around? Won't worry about it too much. Let's see. What's the next green that I want to use? Too bright? This might be just gentle enough. So this I want to use sparingly, because this is more of the grassy green that I talked about. So if I overuse it, it'll just make this whole image look kind of bad. But in just the right touches, I don't think it should be too overpowering. There really is such a spectrum of green though. Some greens are very attention grabbing. I've actually heard before, and I don't know how true this is, But I've heard that green is the easiest color for the human eye to perceive. This more like blue-green just really jumps out at you. While the more sage green kind of hides itself away. I don't think this adds too much variation though, because it is fairly similar to the sky color. I'm using it very lightly just to add dimension to these plants once again. Now I'm gonna try out, let's see. Just gonna see if there's anything even softer. Bronze yellow, what does that look like? Ooh, yes, that is just perfect. So this is like a really nice goldeny, yellowy color I can use to blend in some of these greens. I'll just kind of pass that over all the leaves. Makes them look aged but not dead. Getting right towards the end here. Really just adding some finishing touches. Hopefully you can see past my hair. I love blending shades of green. It really can be such a pretty color. Oh, it's really giving it the effect I want it to have. Ah, yes. And yeah, once again, I think that really soft texture contrasts nicely with the ink of the markers and helps it to stand apart from Miss Owl here. I might add a few touches of yellow marker there. We'll see. These little stripes here might actually be enough. This might be just what we needed. Yeah, I actually really like it for this plant that I'm doing right now. Then I have one more shade of green. This is kind of an in-between color. It's a little bit on the bright side, so I will use it more sparingly. But just to give a little bit more dimension to these plants. I do feel like I keep saying dimension a lot, but I think that's something that is, really important to making a drawing fun. Or it can be if you want it to. You can also have fun going completely flat. There's no rules to art. It's all what you want it to be. All about what you make it, literally. Just this leaf over here, I want to make extra bright. When objects are closer to you, they often appear darker and brighter colored because there's no atmosphere between them and you. So just for the leaves that I want to appear in the foreground, I'm gonna go ahead and make them a little bit brighter, a little bit darker in color. Same with this one right here. And just a few more little touches of yellow marker, I think. Some of these plants, I think, can use it. So I don't want them to feel too faded. It is a colorful picture after all. Especially on this little bright one. So I don't want it to be too cool toned. Make this little leaf shine like a jewel. Hopefully I'm not damaging these markers too much. These poor, wonderful markers. Is there anything more soothing than coloring? I really felt kind of anxious the past few days, and this just feels like it helped me to get rid of any of that stress. I feel like there's just maybe the wing needs a little bit more yellow as well. Just a little highlight there. And then even just along the edges of the face. Not too much, but I don't want to leave it completely stark white. I'll let it have a little bit of gold into it. And this flower is a little bit too light, I think. It's like asking for attention too much compared to my owl, who should be the star. A little more goldenrod here. This goldenrod marker really ended up carrying this one. Worked hard today. Now I'm just being pedantic. Can't help myself. Alright. Okay. These petals need a tiny bit of help. I have to say, the orange does make that red look a little better. One last little scan. I think you need to actually be colored in. Little dot there. All right. There's our happy little harvest time owl. I hope that you found this as therapeutic as I did, or even half as much. Thank you so much for hanging out with me while I did a little coloring session. Hope you enjoyed.